open Photoshop and create a new document. This is going to be your development board, so think about the size at which you want to work. I'm making an A3 horizontal document, but you can make yours in the format that you require. And go to Create. There are lots of options for grids, rulers and guides to help you align your artwork. We go to the View menu, down, we can choose to show the rulers, and that gives us a ruler at the top and a ruler down the side. We can right click on that and change the parameters for the rulers. You can also go to View, down to Show, and turn on a grid. And again, that just gives you a grid in line with the rulers, but makes it easier to match up where you're trying to place things. We can choose to snap objects to the grid, View, Snap to Grid. And then when you draw an object, it will automatically snap to points on that grid, like so. We've got some other choices in here, so we can create a new guide by clicking on New Guide, choosing the orientation and the position, and that creates a new guide. You can do the same thing by dragging a guide out from the rulers. You can do that from the top rulers as well. Clear guides by going to View, Clear Guides. I can turn the grid off in the same way. View, Show, click off grid. If I want to set up my own rulers and guides, for example, if I was making a threefold leaflet or a booklet, I could go to View, New Guide Layout, and then make myself a custom guide out of the settings that are already here. So 8 columns, 24 columns there, the default. Or I could just put in whatever I want in the columns. I can set a gutter and a margin or bleed if I need that as well. I can also choose to snap objects to the guides by turning on View, Snap to Guides, and then when I draw my object it will automatically pull into the guide there. You'll notice as well that red line that's come down the middle there, that is a guide marker, and it will show whenever you're lined up directly in the centre or when you line up with another object. Next we're going to look at the brush tool menus. So brushes and eraser tools work in the same way. They're either adding or subtracting from the image. I make a new layer to work on. Click on the new layer icon and come over to the brush tool in the toolbar. Brush options are up here, and from here I can change the size of my brush. And I have control over other parameters like the hardness and the brush type. Can also set a blend mode for the brush, and I can change the opacity here. Shortcuts for the brush are B to make a brush, and the square brackets will make it smaller and larger. You can choose the colour for the brush by going down to the colour palette at the bottom here and clicking on it. Use the sliders to choose a new colour and the colour picker to refine it. As well as the brush parameters in the size drop down, you can click on the brush folder here, and that gives us a much bigger range of settings for the brush. So here we have the hard brush I've been using, and I can change its angle and its direction of stroke, size, and the spacing, which controls how many it will leave at a time. And I have further control over things like scattering, wet brush, and shape dynamics. And I can choose those by just clicking on the one I want to look at, checking it on, and then changing the options in here. You can see straight away the difference that's made to my brush. Go back to brushes and brush tip shape. I can choose now from a range of brush options that are preset. And the size. I can also play with the angle, the spacing, the direction of flow, and the roundness. So these variations in brushes can be useful when you're brushing a colour into something. So the soft brown brush can be used very much as a kind of spray can. And you can also use the opacity to make layers, layer up the brush. So eraser tools work in the same way as brush tools, but they're taking away the colour in that shape. So there's a hard eraser tool, or I could, in the same way, choose any of the other brush settings. And delete backwards. With practice you can write with the brush, but it's much easier to use a text tool. Text tools are here in the toolbar. If you click on the T and then click somewhere on your workspace, it will bring up the text in the last font that you've used. It will give you automatic text just so you can see what the letters look like, which you can click on, select and delete, and then write your own text in on top. Again, I can select that. I can change the colour here. Just pick a new colour. need to go back to the T and reselect every time I want to do something to my text. I can change the font in here. I can change the size, make it tiny or big, or I can retype a much bigger number in here. I've also got options here in the curvy text tool to warp the text into a different style.